go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Rachel.
Here.
Katie.
Here.
Sarah.
Here.
Doug.
Here.
Lori.
Here.
Carrie.
Here.
Jeff.
Here. If everyone will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll remain standing for a moment of silence for armed services personnel. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any items to be added or changed to our agenda?
There is not.
We have no correspondence and commendations. We'll move on to recognition and acknowledgement. First up, we'll have our valedictorian and salutatorian.
Sean Byron.
And Mr. Byram, please bring him forward.
Okay. All right, come on up, Noah and Nathan. Don't tell anybody, but I gotta bring my glasses today. But, so we got Nathan is our salutatorian, and Noah is our valedictorian. Pretty tough race between both of these gentlemen all 4 years. If you want to look at how many AP classes to take to be in the running, these boys definitely wrote the book on that. He's going to be attending Grand Valley at this time next year. He's going into computer and electrical engineering, not sure which, but somewhere into that realm. And Noah here is going to go to U of M, so go blue for him. And then he's looking at aerospace engineering, correct? Yeah. All right, awesome. And his parents are here, both parents are here. So we've got Nathan's parents, Christy and Jason, if you guys just want to give a wave there. And then we also have Pat and Chastity as well here for Noah. So those are the parents. So these are our vows and salves.
All right.
We didn't make them talk today because they got big speeches at graduation. So.
Good practice.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Noah, good luck.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Noah, congratulations.
Thank
Go
you.
blue.
Yeah, go blue. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck with that. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Nathan, congratulations. Go Lakers.
Congratulations.
All right, Mr. Byram.
And now Mr. Byram has our honor students.
Yeah, we decided just because of, we've had a number of weeks off, so I wasn't able to check in with every single student. So I wanted to get all their names at least up on that PowerPoint so everybody can see. We've got 27 academic scholars. That counts our valedictorians, salutatorians as well. That's anybody that's holding a cumulative GPA of 4.0 and above. Now you sit there and you kind of scratch your head, how do they get above a 4.0? Our district, a number of years back, switched over to all of our advanced placement classes being at a 5.0 scale. So typically, you tend to see your academic scholars taking at least one to multiple AP classes throughout their time. Sophomore year is when they can start taking those. AP Government's kind of our first. So all these folks that I'm going to be mentioning, they're all above a 4.0 cumulative GPA. When you hear your name, if you could just come on to the front, and then we'll let you all shake the hands kind of at the very end. I'm also going to mention the parents of each one of our students as well. So parents, you want to give a wave when I mention your student's name. So you'll be doing a lot of this at the end of April and May. So get used to the ride. All right. So we've got Keaton Abraham, Sean and Sarah Abraham are his parents. So if you want to stand, you can as well. I know not everybody likes the limelight, but yeah. I got Nathan, you can just give a wave. We've already got to meet you. Skylie Ames, April and James Ames are her parents. Connor Byram is, well, that's me. And his mom Kim in the back there. All right. Zach Cowper, they couldn't be here today, but Constance and Dale Cowper. Michael Duras, with Catherine and Chris. And not all of these folks were able to make it today because of jobs and all that good stuff, but we thought that we'd mention everybody. Isabel Dobzaleski, Emily and Matt. I think Matt's walking in the door right now. So, and we've got Noah Enders, who we've already met. Kate Gopinski, which is Krista and Scott. Typically you see Matt and Scott together, so I'm kind of, they're maybe here. We've got Claire Gohl, which is Sarah and Stephen Gohl. Kylie Hopp. Jill and Kevin Hopp are her parents. And let's see here, Finn Kelly, Mandy and Chris. We've got Emily Kurtz, Christy and Mike. I think I saw them walk in as well. Addison Matheson, which is Elizabeth, and then Elizabeth Hunter, and then stepdad's here, Eric, as well. Hunter McNew, which Monique and Christopher are parents, and we've got Idris Mirza, Melissa and Faisal. So Idris, you wanna come on up? Ashlyn Manusko, Marlene and Wayne, Ella Moylan, Emily and Dan, I believe they're here as well. Caitlin Panasso, Elaine and Paul are the parents. Carson Pointer, Amanda and Eric. Dominic, oh my goodness, Dominic Signorello, Kelly and Michael. I'm not sure if Amelia Smith is here. She was kind of an early graduate, so I'm not sure if they were.
She's not home right now, I can tell you that.
And that's what I thought, so, but I wanted to get her name in there just in case. Ella Spanding, Jill and Andrew, all right. Kennedy Wangler, Alexis and Brett. Ava Wells, Marty is mom. And then Ashlyn Wolfile, Laura and Jeff are her parents. And then the last one, Brianna Zach, Katie and Jason. I know definitely where he's going, because they were at Michigan Tech over the weekend. But if you could, when you guys are shaking hands with those folks, let them know where you're going and the plans for next year. But as you can see, large groups, so these are going to be our highlights for this week at Gaylord High School. So.
Okay. Congratulations.
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 Okay, so where you going?
NCRC.
Okay, okay. Where you going? Saginaw Valley. Congratulations.
Good job, everybody.
Okay, congratulations. Congratulations. Where are you going?
Central.
Okay.
Yep.
Three fire up chips. Congratulations. Where are you going? No, yeah. Where are you going?
No, I'm doing NCMC and I'm not entirely sure after that.
Okay, good.
Congratulations.
Where are you going to go?
No clue.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Where are you going?
Not sure yet. I got
Okay,
finished my
okay.
5th year.
You know where you're going?
U of M.
Okay, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. You know where you're going?
Alma for track.
Alma, okay. Awesome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Where are you going?
I'm going to U of M.
U of M, okay.
U of M.
Where are you going?
Alma College.
Alma College, 2 Almas. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Where are you going?
Alma College.
Where are you going?
Either Cornerstone or Cedarville.
Okay, cool. Congratulations. How about you?
Not Taylor.
Lakeside? Oh, just over the bridge.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I didn't ask what they were majoring in. I hope some of them are going to be nurses.
Nurses and teachers.
I love it. I thought about, like aeronautical engineering. And then I thought it was going to be too easy.
Engineering's good too.
What's that?
Engineering's good.
Yeah. Not a single Michigan State right there.
No state. Don't let anybody in. This kid's got the pick.
She was just texting me as I pulled in.
Yeah.
I'm in here and I have like all these like.
Got a good SAT.
Okay, I'm taking. You got to give me a second. I'm taking this off.
All right.
Because I know she was home last week.
You got a couple minutes.
We've got a lot
She's actually saying the door was open. So she's right now, but she's going to tech in the fall. She's working. Yeah. Getting her little piece of mind and she's getting her basics. Some of her classes out of the way, so. Everything she can.
Yes.
For sure.
All right. I think we're ready to continue.
Oh, you're fine. I was just not understanding.
Move on to personnel. We have new hires. Educational Assistant Shelby Slavinsky, Gaylord High School Assistant Track Coach Michael McFalda, and Bus Driver Linda Walsh. Do we have any of our new hires here? Doesn't appear so.
Nope.
Resignations. Gaylord High School Assistant Principal Sean Sargent, Food Service Helpers Laura Scope and Patricia Borowiak, and JV Volleyball Head Coach Delaney Brigham. Updates. In the process, transportation, is this?
Yes.
That's just the leftover from what
Okay.
I normally give you after committee meetings, so.
Okay.
I wanted you to be aware of those happenings.
So you're in the process of transportation director, social studies CTE, which is on hold right now, head football coach, due to the storm, we're holding off on that. You're in the process of the food service director, and middle school principal in the midst of that too, so. Any
Busy
questions?
week.
I was gonna say, that's a lot to keep you.
As you come back from,
The show must go on.
yeah,
I don't think she stopped the whole time.
yeah, that's true. All right, building updates. Mr. Byram, you're back on the hot seat.
Yeah. Other than our academic scholars, the big thing is we've had to make some major changes in testing.
And so our community has been fantastic at providing us spaces. We had looked at the building at E-Free, because it's the largest building in our community that can house and provide the tech. We were really only focusing on attempting to do that with just juniors, and then doing our PSAT testing in-house, thinking that we could get it all done in kind of like one day or a day and a half to not interrupt the school schedule. In hindsight, we didn't think that Snowmageddon was coming, but now, with working with College Board and MDE, they're like, the fact that you had this already pre-planned out is beneficial. So, yes, we're scrambling like crazy, we're probably gonna miss, some makeup opportunities, but for the most part, we're gonna be able to provide testing for PSAT and SAT, with very little interruption. So that's huge. I mean, it's a huge testament to one, our transportation in getting things moving for us, and then also gonna be offering the shuttles for the testing. And then obviously our tech department with being able to change and find new hotspots and Wi-Fi's and all those. Kirtland Community College has been extremely helpful with us. We have a lot of our accommodated testing, which is required to be 100% digital. We are able to walk students right next door. And so we've been able to do a lot of putting the plane together as we're flying to keep us up and running at the school. So that's really the biggest highlight, is that everybody's working together and rowing in one direction to get us to our destination. So that's really the highlight we wanted to capture outside of our academic scholars, so.
Nice.
Thank you, Sean.
Perfect.
My son's a senior, I asked him if he was coming to the board meeting tonight, and he said, for what?
We've been working on that joke for a while.
He's a brave kid.
So I think today, besides the first day of school, today was our second best day of attendance, so the kids were glad to be back, obviously. But next Saturday at the high school, the 26th, we're hosting a regional national civics meet. So there's 7 regionals in the state, and then I think late May, so we're sending 14 kids next from the middle school. It's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and so they compete in civics B questions. And part 1 was an essay competition. We submitted 50 essays. 14 got moved around to, which is next Saturday. The top 3 from next week's competition at the high school go to the state. And then from there, potentially nationals. But we got some good kids, so. And our supposed to be Mr. Goderline, you guys know him. He's just all of March, because we submitted the essays in February, all of March. At lunchtime, he's been orchestrating it with the other social studies teachers, and they've just been buzzing the kids, during lunch periods all of March. So they're pretty prepared, so they're excited about that. And then, so I'll give you an update in May. And then we are gonna take our kids next, we've done it the last 2 years. Next Friday, we're taking our whole 8th grade to Kirtland Community College for a career day. It's been
Nice.
pretty positive, yeah, kids love it, so.
Thank you. Michelle?
Okay. I'll stand right here.
Perfect.
Our 6th graders went with 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Liz Reynolds, to the Future of STEM Roadshow at MSU. 77 students from Otsego County went. We had a great turnout from GIS. The kids had a great time and they're fired up about STEM, so we're excited about that. She also hosted the Think Energy with DTE today about preserving energy and being friendly to the environment, and the kids really enjoyed that today. We apologize if any stickers show up on things at your house that are safe. It's kind of like an inside joke of the school. I think I wasn't part of it, but the chocolate fundraiser netted $36,000 and $13,000, which was what GIS will receive. So it's a huge fundraiser that really supports our classrooms, our teachers, offsets field trip costs, a really big factor to doing some amazing things. So we appreciate the community and everyone around for supporting that. Diane Broviak and Alan Dahl really took the lead on that and rolled it out, so we're very thankful for them. March's Reading Month was super fun at GIS. Greg Fry organized the read around the classrooms. The kids all pick, one student goes to, each student in every class goes to a different adult in the building, and they do mystery readers with different kids, and students just love it. Pat Enders, we showcased his book. And then Kelly Heinz and Julia Newverth organized the theme around dedicating it to Stacy Wright. Our theme was reading is the right thing to do. She was a big proponent for March's Reading Month, and she founded all those ideas along with the fundraiser too. So some great happenings at GIS.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We heard you had a nice costume this morning, and Mr. Byram was mentioning he might like to borrow that from you.
Oh, I'll give you that, no problem. I know, people are like, was that you wearing that? The traffic was great though. I'll pass that right up.
Alrighty, so like Joe indicated, today was a great attendance day. We started with a handful of students missing, some came in late, some were able to share some stories about that, but at the end of the day, we had less than 10 students absent from the entire building. So we were grateful for that. Rachel reached out to families, students who weren't at school, just to see if there were supports that we could help provide, so we could get the kids at school. Staff was excited to see students, they were excited to see each other. Everybody was very glad and extremely grateful for all of the things that this office has done behind the scenes to get our kids to school, to feel things a little bit normal after all that's happened. Transportation has moved mountains. If they could have moved poles and trees, I bet they would have done that too. And so we were grateful for that. Technology is an ongoing 2 steps forward, 1 step back. The feeling, I'm sure sometimes, but everybody has done what they needed to do, and then some, and then some, and then some, to get our students back, and that includes the staff in the building. So just really a huge testament to the way that everybody's working together, really to put kids first. And meet needs there. And then, one final thing is that we were very, very pleased to say that we have some positive things coming in. Our PTO has been a huge help in bringing things into the building, supporting things in the building, and we had lots and lots of things scheduled, and they did some quick scrambling along with some other staff to do some rearranges and reconnect with companies that were coming in to share some things. And so our STEAM museum that we were so excited to share, and I had talked to you about, it was our ending activity, our culminating activity for our March's Reading Month. Obviously that didn't happen. They were able to reschedule that for June, I want to say June 2nd. So again, everybody pulled some strings and did what they needed, and we didn't lose things. We were able to rearrange, so another positive.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Celeste.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to say I have new information to bring, but when you're the last one to speak, everybody always says the good stuff. So like everybody else, student attendance was great. We only had 7 absent students this fine day. Staff morale was high. And it was funny because I just forget how cute these little guys are and how much we really miss them. We just had March's Reading Month. We did a readathon fundraiser, and our students were able to raise close to $10,000 for South Maple for their readathon, so that was amazing. As many of you know, the big trees on South Maple's campus had to be torn down. And so today the kids were really sad about that, and they were trying to organize how they could raise funds to buy new trees for our campus. So the 3rd graders, in coordination with our awesome library tech, Paula DeSlover, are trying to come up with a way to have some sort of penny war so kids can raise money to buy new trees for South Maple. So I thought that was very cool and awesome and something that needed to be shared. And just like everybody else said, without the help of all these people behind the scenes, we could not have been as well off as we are. Todd's tech team, I don't even know how he's awake right now for as many late night updates as we got in transportation and all of the things they've done, moving bus stops and helping kids get to stop safely. Like, just thank you so much, everybody, really. So that's all we've got from South Maple and the city of Gaylord. They've done an incredible job making sure the streets are clear for our kids. So thank you for everybody's help for our kids.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to public input. None? Okay. Consent agenda. We have board minutes from, shucks, hit the wrong button here. From March 10th, 2025, and the treasurer's report. We have general fund and athletic fund bills in the amount of $3.1 million. Cafeteria fund bills in the amount of $108,000. Sinking fund bills in the amount of $8,000. And prior period adjustments of $0. That is the end of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Any questions on the consent agenda? Okay.
Rachel,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Jeff Weaver.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. New and unfinished business. We have the K-6 iReady Math Extension. It is recommended that the board approve the K-6 iReady Math Extension as presented.
Can we ask a quick question before we make a motion on this?
We have to go through, we have to have a motion before we can,
Okay.
before we can discuss anything.
Okay.
So I'll need a first and a second on this motion.
So I'll make a motion to approve the math extension.
Any second?
I'll second.
Okay,
Okay.
now
so-
we can have questions.
Okay, so there are different price points on this, so are there different, is it 1 year, 3 year, 5 year?
The recommendation from the Director of Finance and the Curriculum Director is 5-year. We did a 1-year extension by going this past year, because they're 5-year increments. So the recommendation is to go out 5 years, and it saves us $100,000. And Dennis couldn't be here, or Joe, they're assessors at their house, so.
So the curriculum, I mean, I would support doing it for 1 year and then having time to talk to Dennis about what the, is this something that's gonna be reviewed? Because we did the language arts, and are we not doing math? I thought we were gonna review the math curriculum.
Well, they did, and this was their recommendation.
This is that was just a. okay.
Yes, yeah. So it's the recommendation from the teachers and the whole process.
So they went through the same process that they went through for language arts, to pick this curriculum.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was just, okay, well, okay. So, I support the teachers, I definitely support Dennis and everything he's doing, but I do not support this product.
Okay.
My concern.
Fair enough.
Well, and I have a quick question,
Yes, ma'am.
since this is the first time I've done this.
Mhm.
If there's any upgrades to the material within that 5 years, do we get that material or do we have to pay additional fees for that material?
If they change anything, because a lot of it's web-based, so we would get, that would go along with it. Yeah, we wouldn't have to go out and buy more.
Did everybody, I know Dennis offered for anybody to contact him to get the curriculum. Did everybody look at it, or?
I know he presented that maybe 2 months ago, and he's had the bag sitting in his office, so I assume people were picking stuff up and looking at it.
So the issue, I'm just gonna, for public to know, the issue for me is that there's a lot of focus on this math curriculum on student identities. And I think that is, our math scores are not great. How long have we used iReady?
Actually, this is our 6th year, and our math scores have actually improved. They're not where we would want them, but
Because we know, we're third grade, I think, was 35% proficient.
Right, so a continuous improvement model. You know, definitely the teachers like the curriculum. That was the recommendation. We feel like it's working for our kids.
I don't think 35% is working for kids.
But now when they got to 8th grade, they made a huge jump,
They
if I
did.
remember correctly, right?
They do.
Was it above 50%?
I don't have the numbers right in front of
I
me.
think it was.
Do we
I was
use
gonna
the
say, it
same
was on-
curriculum for above 6th grade?
It's just to 6th grade.
Right.
But it's
Okay,
but it's
but that's what
spiraling
I'm
curriculum.
saying, so Jeff just said when we hit 8th grade, we make a huge improvement. Are the 7th and 8th graders using the same curriculum as this curriculum?
Well, they came up with the curriculum as they advanced
Yeah,
in
you'd have
grades.
to get to 7th and 8th grade, you have to go through that curriculum
What
to set the
curriculum do they
foundation.
have in 7th and 8th grade? Do we know?
What's that, Joe?
Big idea.
Main ideas?
Maybe.
Big ideas.
Big ideas, sorry. Big ideas. Okay.
So, the math concepts are great, I mean, don't get me wrong, but, in the teacher's, guide, the things that they want to do after you teach them the concepts, I mean, the language and, the topics are just so far above, I think I'm in the 2nd grade book. I just feel like, especially with the proficiency in reading, that when they're trying to discuss these concepts that are supposed to support the math concepts, that we're gonna lose a lot of attention from children. In one of them too, it says to read and discuss, and it's telling the teacher what to read and discuss, and then it says if you have more time, use the optional STEM activity. So they're more concerned about the language and the topics that they're discussing, which are really not applicable to our students, to support the math concept. So it just really worries me about the curriculum. And there's like academic vocabulary routine. And they'll give academic words that are applicable, but then they want to do them in Spanish and Haitian Creole also, and teach the kids these words and see how similar they are. So how much time are we really spending on the math concept? That's my concern.
Mr. Geck, I hate to put you on the
Not a
hot
problem. I
seat.
got here quick, I apologize.
We understand.
At my house, and so I
Could,
apologize.
could you explain to us the process, who supported it, why, whatever you can,
We're talking math curriculum right now.
math, yes, sir.
You're welcome.
So I'll
Do you need
read, 'cause
do you need
I-
a deep breath?
No, I don't know how long you're talking about.
We just started.
Just started.
Perfect. Process is, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, went through a lengthy process to adopt new math curriculum. We did. We adopted Curriculum Associates iReady. We saw immediate positive results. We've maintained, over the years where we're at, up, down, I mean, typical data, but always have been above state average across the board in math. We're doing well in math. Last year, the way the iReady curriculum works is it's a subscription-based curriculum. There aren't really any companies anymore, like when we went to school, that says, here's your textbook. It's some web-based material, and then it's reproducibles is what they call them, which is student workbooks, and we buy that in a package. Last year for current board members, well, except the new board members, that expired. We were in the middle of our ELA adoption. The board voted to do a 1-year extension on that, if you remember. This year, went through the process again. The math department, the buildings, and we looked at some other ones, but this was at the forefront. The data that we received back from staff and administrators overwhelmingly wanted to extend iReady. They're used to it, it's working, they're still getting used to our new ELA curriculum. It was nearly 100% unanimous moving forward with this math curriculum. The reason that we came with a little bit more of an approval is because they updated, curriculum companies every 5 or 6 years update the versions. This is a new version. We went through it. There's very minimal changes from the version that we had before that. It's just the 2024, whatever date's on there on the copyright. So again, overwhelming support from the department, the staff, administrators. Ran it through departments, ran it through school improvement. ran it through district improvement, final spot, ran it through Jim and Joe Hart for the financial part, and now I presented it, would have been 2 months ago.
2 months.
Gave you a month to review it, and then we're here to vote for approval.
Now, Lori had a question about if, and kind of, you were saying, if they get a new version, then we'll, in between, if we go with 5 years, what's presented, we'll get the new version comes along with it.
We can negotiate that with them. We could have done it last year. We could have, and it wouldn't have changed any of the costs or anything, so yes. But they probably won't. This is gonna be their newest one. Like I said, it's about a 5 to 7 year window typically when they update and put a new date on that. But,
Answer your question.
yeah, it's a good question though.
So in the current curriculum with iReady, or the current version, I should say, that we're using, I'm just noticing in here that there's just a lot of, after the math concepts, there's just a lot of language and vocabulary and things. Are they doing that now?
I wouldn't say it's a specific, okay, now we're gonna work on math vocabulary. There are vocabulary lessons within the math, so that they know the correct verbiage and stuff while they're working through. But I guess I don't know what you're specifically asking.
Well, just like, in this unit 4, grade 2, they start out with the math concepts. It's about measurement and timelines and stuff, and then they go into stories, to support it. But then they wanted, this is, and the one it's read and discuss, so they want to tell students that Eugenie's identity was unique. She was a woman, she was Japanese American, she was a scientist, she was a person who loved sharks. Eugenie liked all those things about herself, and they made her who she was. And then they want the teachers to ask, how are you like Eugenie? How are you different from Eugenie? Discuss the idea that we're all similar and we're all different. And then there's another question they want to ask, I can read it if you want, but then at the bottom it says, if you have more time, use the optional STEM activity. I feel like we should be focused more on the STEM activity than the story that doesn't even have a math story.
Sure.
It's not, supporting a math concept.
I don't feel comfortable answering that question
Yeah.
specifically on that because I don't know. I honestly don't know if the teachers are using that story part.
And are they obligated to do this page by page? I mean, or
It's a
are they
resource.
encouraged to do it
Sure.
page by page?
It's a resource.
What does that mean? It's a resource, obviously it's a
So,
resource.
so there, Michigan, state of Michigan has benchmarks or standards, and so that book aligns with them. So they have to teach the standards, and so they're gonna use lessons from that book or as a resource in order to meet that objective. That's usually with textbooks or whether web-based or a traditional textbook. It's aligned with the standards. So we teach the standards because we're required to by law. And then we get supporting materials that will help us deliver it.
And then as somebody, like, the department head of the math, are they like advising teachers on what specifics to teach, or is a teacher allowed to
They,
eliminate and go by
I wouldn't
this
say,
resource?
so like Mr. Craycraft said, it's a resource, and when we teach, we use a couple phrases: fidelity, skillful implementation. We have pacing guides, curriculum maps, common assessments, formative assessments to know how we're losing, so we know what the kids need to learn. We still believe in the professionalism of our staff and what they use to support their students, as long as they're following the skeleton, I guess is what I'm saying, of the curriculum that they're, are made available to.
Grade level standards.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want me when I was saying it, but it's like the vocabulary and the content, I don't feel is like age or academic appropriate when we get into this part of the math concepts, I think are fine. It's just the supporting part to it that, I mean, some of the names of the people, some of the words that they're using, I just don't think the kids will understand that. And then we're focusing more on the vocabulary, the language, and the topic than the concept of math, is my opinion. And then also, this question that I had, so part of the academic vocabulary, they teach kids words to the assignment, but then they want to, even in kindergarten, have them get the Spanish cognate and also the Haitian Creole cognate. So it says here, ask students in any of the academic words look or sound similar to a word in their first language. Have students circle those words. So we're gonna give them Spanish words and Haitian Creole words.
I think that's probably an ESL.
It's an ESL component.
Yeah, it's an ESL component for students that English is their second language, I'm guessing.
But this is the teacher's guide for all of it. I would.
Correct, it's probably embedded in there for if they do have students that are ESL.
So our teachers wouldn't have to be teaching
I
these
don't-
kids Spanish and
If they
Haitian?
have students that are ESL, which we do have ESL students, they would probably use some of that, yeah. That's an ESL standard, basically, is to line up the two different languages and,
But they also want to explain to the students the words in two languages that share the same or similar meaning, spelling, and pronunciation, and are called cognates. And somewhere I saw they want to make sure the students know what a cognate is. And we're gonna ask a native speaker volunteer to model pronunciation, have students repeat.
I would think that that's an appropriate technique if you have a high number of ESL students in your class, which I've taught in high number ESL classrooms. That's modeling, that's how they learn the language, that's how they become accustomed to it.
I do understand, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But I don't know, like I said, I don't think I don't think that's a daily requirement. I think if you have ESL students that speak those languages in your classroom, it would probably be an acceptable standard.
okay.
So just getting back to the scores really quickly. So in 2018, we were teaching this, correct?
Yeah, I believe that's the year we adopted it, yes.
So we were 43% proficient, and now in 2024, we were 35%.
What grade level is that?
Third grade math. So-
And we've talked about that third grade from last year. It's not acceptable, we know that, but it's also, I'm hoping, an anomaly that we're continuing to work on.
But-
That's
so-
only
but-
one grade.
But, so you had indicated though, and it is, so if the scores go up in 7th or 8th, is it your position that it doesn't, like the percentages don't matter?
No.
No, I mean, because you were saying you were discounting the scores because they go up.
You're going from the M-STEP, are you quoting
I'm
M-STEP
going
scores?
from the information that Dennis has presented to us.
So those
about
are
the
M-STEP scores.
I mean, that's the data we use to assess.
So, while it's some of the data that we use, we actually use formative and summative assessments as well, and local assessments to determine, the kids are making growth in WAs and other tests that we administer. So, I guess, to answer your question, that's all data that we use to help drive instruction and what we need to do better.
But so how many years have we taught this?
I think this is year 6 or 7. Don't quote me, because I'm pretty sure, I know it's at least 6.
And you're proposing a 5-year adoption?
In talking with our finance director, Joe, it's a savings of about $100,000 if we go with the 5.
Okay, so that's 11 years. So let's say we adopt that. If after 11 years, our scores have not approved, do you pivot? Do you change course? Or do we just say, this
Yeah,
is
we're
what
always
our
looking
teachers
into
want,
growth.
this is what we're doing,
Yeah.
what do we?
Yeah. And remember, it's not, I wish it was as easy as if you buy this curriculum, you're gonna get these scores. Because every school in the country would have the same exact, it's not that simple. It's teaching practices, it's, culture. There's so many things that go into this. And and again, it's how you use it and how prepared your teachers are and how collectively they're working on it. I truly wish we could just go out and say, Traverse City's using this curriculum, this is their scores, let's buy it. It just doesn't work that way. I wish it did, it'd make all of our jobs a lot easier.
So I see what you're saying. You're concerned that our math grades have not been as high as we would like them to be with the same curriculum, and now we're adopting the newer version of the same curriculum. So how do we, I don't want to use the word guarantee, but how do we work to continue to improve math grades by using this curriculum? What are some of the things that we're doing? If it's not effective, if we approve the 5-year and we're not effective, let's say after 2 or 3 years, can we adopt a new curriculum?
We can take a look at it, and we're constantly looking at that. We're constantly, and again, I'll go back a couple of years ago to ELA, when we were starting the process of adopting ELA, there's things you have to determine before you say it's the curriculum that's the problem. For example, fidelity, skillful implementation, and what we found was there was people not following the board adopted curriculum the way it was supposed to be followed. And until you get that piece, you can't determine that it's a curricular issue, if that makes sense. So, again, we're looking at this two different ways, in my opinion. We're looking at the scores, which we all want constantly to be doing better, but we're also looking at the financial piece. And for our district, you know, I think that the actual curriculum that we purchase is important, but the teaching practices are more important than the actual curriculum that we purchase and how we implement it. If we wanted to look at a 3-year, I mean, we could have that discussion, but again, now we're less into the savings. It's always better financially to go with the 5-year. Curricular,
Is there a contract that says we have to stick with it? Like Katie was saying, can we get out of this if in 3 years, like this is not getting
that'd
any
be tough.
better?
That'd be
It's
tough,
tough.
because we pay
So-
for it up front.
Yeah.
So when we
Okay.
commit to this, you know, that includes the materials for 5 years, the support, and all the professional development. It's a package.
How
And
is
that's why
there-
it's so discounted.
In most curriculums, if I may, best practice is about 7 years. So that gives us 5 years, and then you start the process over again. And it's usually a year towards an adoption. So that's pretty consistent with what other districts have done.
So we're at 6 years, so why don't we approve it for a year and then start the process again? That's 7 years and assess if this isn't,
That
if
wasn't-
this isn't.
yeah. That just wasn't the recommendation from the committee, but I get your point.
Well,
We didn't take it.
if we're talking about, you're talking about money, and we're not talking about the kids. What about the loss of opportunity for the kids, or the loss of sense of achievement, or, you know, the kids, they're not learning. We're 35% proficient in 3rd grade is abysmal. So, and I'm not saying, I know there are other factors, of course, there are other factors that go into this, but it's just when do we say, okay, this isn't working for our district? What can we do? Let's try something else, let's look at something else. And, you know, I just think about, this curriculum is it's math. We want these kids to understand math. And we've heard people talk about how, you know, you see kids out and they can't make change. They need to know math. This is not the time to talk about their identity. Like, I'm not against anybody's identity. I'm just saying, this seems like the focus is not on what it should be on. And I feel like our scores are reflecting that, and we're 6 years into this. Why are we signing on for another 5 years?
I would respectfully disagree that our scores are very good in math, and they have been for a long time. In the past 7, 8 years, in my opinion, they've been exceptional. Did we have a bruise this past year? Absolutely we did. We know
Okay,
that.
but Dennis, going back to 2018, it was 43%.
Yeah.
That's not, we're not resting that 50%. That's
What,
a failing grade.
what is our expectation as the board? Are we expecting 100%, 75, 50?
Well, this is proficiency, it's not, I mean, I understand there's plenty of kids with many disabilities that inhibit them. However, I mean,
But-
why would we not expect a high number?
Well, I think we all expect a high number, but what is honestly, truly achievable? And it's a proficiency, like you say, but
This isn't-
we don't know how many kids are 1 point away from being proficient. We don't know that information,
I
correct?
could share, they have partially proficient data, and I haven't shared it because they're not proficient, and we don't want to share it unless they're proficient. We have a high number of kids that they consider partially proficient that are right there. But again, I go back to data that we've shared, it's a snapshot. It's one assessment that we get per year. You know, it's percent proficient, but I go back to the data that we shared, and I could present multiple sources of comparative data of the demographics of our community to other communities that share the same demographics, and it's not even close. We're outperforming those communities. It's not fair to compare us to a Petoskey or a Leland. I mean, I can name a bunch of them. I trust the data sources that say, here's Gaylord, here's 20 other schools that compare in demographics of all the different factors, and we're at the top of every single one of them.
Would it be fair to say that if we were to switch from what you've just said a little bit ago, if we were to switch programs, we would most likely see a drop in our scores because now the fidelity is not there, we don't know how to teach?
I would predict a dip. It takes, again, 2 to 4 years for a staff to get used to and comfortable and proficient with a curriculum. For example, our ELA, I'm hoping for good results, but I'm not sure where that's gonna come back at. If and this was kind of the thought process, if we put a brand new math curriculum that staff's not used to on top of this brand new monumental shift in ELA, because remember, we're shifting to the science of reading and phonics and phonemic awareness and all those things, the staff is still learning, I would guess that we would see a dip in math, and maybe significant. I would, across the board.
Is there any programs that we're doing for our reading, we're doing,
IDOS tutoring?
no, the other one, the class that they had to take?
Letters training.
Do they have anything similar in math?
They do, what was it? Foundations of Math. When we adopted, and I guess, Jeff, you were here, I think you might have been the only board member here when we did that. It was a process of training and curriculum, and we did 3 summers of something called Foundations of Math. And combining with a new curriculum, we saw really, really nice gains during that time. Letters is similar in that it's this shift in how we teach reading and the focus on that. So it's all part of the deal. The training, the curriculum.
Okay.
Dennis, who's part of the math team or the support team that reviews the curriculum?
Sure, so we have department chairs across the district for those things. I guide them, and they do what we call the problem-solving protocol, problem-solving driver, which is a way to analyze data, and they come up with causes. What causes the data to be this? And again, I'll go back to ELA, the cause was, what we found out as we started picking it apart, is not everybody was on the same page. We had to fix that first. So again, we have monthly department meetings that they look at data, they look at curriculum guides, pacing guides, they look at assessments, they look at all those things, they have those discussions. And then when we get into this mode of curriculum adoption, we have curriculum rubrics, we have a process that they go through to make the recommendation. And again, I go along with that process. They make a recommendation to the district school improvement team. We share that with Mr. Craycraft, we go to finance, share it with you, like I said 2 months ago, that was a recommendation, and then we vote. And then the work side, I mean, this is the easy part. Then the work, we gotta train, we gotta implement, we have to adapt, we have to make, the subtle changes, and from my understanding, and again from the department, there's subtle changes in this, it's just an updated version.
And the majority of the staff that went through all this,
They did, it was.
they wanted this.
I could show you data, it was overwhelmingly supportive of all the staff and administration.
And there's a great deal of research on teacher efficacy, that if they believe in the product, that's gonna impact student learning.
So last question for me, I'm sorry to jump in. With regard to the fidelity piece, so is it a resource or are they teaching the curriculum with fidelity?
So this is a resource that what the departments do is they make pacing guides and curriculum guides. And what I mean by that is,
They're aligned.
we start with the alignment, we start with the end goal, which is the assessment, which ultimately is MSTEP, but we have our own formative assessments. The curriculum is geared towards that, but it does not mean we start at chapter 1 and we get to chapter 15. Those departments and those staff members take those things apart, design their assessments, their formative assessments, and shift things around that curriculum. Helps them get to know it better, helps them be comfortable with it, they know what their target is. What happens is sometimes teachers, because they're, they're trying to do what's best for the students, they'll pull in their own resource. And they'll be on an island, they'll only use it in their classroom, which, we're not against that, they're professionals, they're professionally trained staff. But if it's something that's working, we want everybody to be using it, and we run those things through departments so that we can look at it, we can research it, we can make sure, again, it's being used with fidelity.
Sarah, did you?
I'm still stuck going back to, our grades are relatively low or our proficiency is relatively low in the elementary age, and then they hit junior high, and 8th grade they jump up. Well, after 2 years of whatever curriculum they're using in junior high, all of a sudden they jump up. So that makes me go, wait, what curriculum are they using? Do they have one for the younger grades? Cause like.
I'll tell you what the 7th and 8th are using. It's a curriculum called Big Ideas that was adopted, I'm gonna share with you, before my time. They're good at it, they're used to it. It's also, when they get to 8th grade, it's a PSAT. So again, it's another moving target. So remember, the M step is where kids are now, anything SAT, PSAT aligned is college and career readiness. Different set of measurements, and it's based on national scores. M step is local, just Michigan. They get the PSAT, 8, 9, 10, and then the SAT and 11, they're being compared to national norms, national groups. So that's why you see that jump, because those percentages are, how are we comparing to the national group of kids that take those assessments? So you want to talk about good data, we're doing pretty good, because that's a national norm test, that's a comparison.
Well, and I'm also, in our board book here, and from the motion that was made, all that we said was as presented, and there's nothing in our board book that said it was a 5-year being presented. It gave us 3 options, and
So
I guess I came to it going, we were gonna discuss and decide which one we were going with here, so.
Yeah, and I don't think we really had the chance to do that.
I know it's
So-
been crazy,
So
but-
it has been, and so today I went and met with Joe. Obviously, this past couple of weeks has been, how do we keep kids at school, how do we keep them safe, all these things. I went to Joe today, said, Joe, what do you think from a finance department? And his recommendation from the finance side was a 5-year because it was $100,000 savings. I'll leave that up to Mr. Craycraft if he wants to, I don't think I'm qualified to have that discussion.
Not only is it the savings, but I also think the timeline fits with what's best practice in adopting curriculum. If you're gonna go year to year, it's just there's no consistency. And then you're retraining. So I'm recommending the 5-year, as I think that's good for kids. It's also got some savings in it attached as well, and we need to be cognizant of that.
We've been doing it for 6 years though, so it's not retraining if we adopt it for another year, correct? It's the same curriculum.
Continuous improvement, we're always training.
So that would be 7 years. You said best practice is a 7-year benchmark. That would be a 7-year. If we do 5, that's 11 years.
Understood, but you've got to retool for this, Rachel. It's, they take into the process, and usually those adoptions go out 5-7 years. And they just went through this adoption process and they want to continue this product.
Do you like it?
I do, and again, we've gotten some great results out of it historically. I know that this past year was not where we wanted to be, I understand that more than anybody. But again, it's not as simple as, let's just get this new curriculum and everything's gonna be fixed. We've gotta think about our teachers' well-being, our teachers' comfort level with things. And again, I trust their opinion.
Absolutely.
You know, I facilitate it, they're on the front line. They're in front of those kids, teaching those kids, designing interventions, going through RTI. And it'd be hard for me to not carry forward a recommendation that comes from the department with almost unanimous support from our staff.
I guess I'm comfortable with the 3 years because it gives us a little bit of the savings and it gives us 3 more years to try this, and that puts us at 9 years with this curriculum. And, you know, if we're not improving by then, I think that, I don't know, that would be what I would be comfortable with, but.
Any other questions or comments from anybody?
What is the savings between the 3-year? I mean, I was just trying to figure it out.
100 grand.
So the.
No,
No,
not
no,
for the 3
no,
years.
not the 3
So
year.
Doug, if
Between the
you
3 and the 5.
look at the 1-year quote, I think it's
Okay.
what, 90,000?
Yeah.
91,000.
91.
And what's the 3-year?
228,
So divide that by 3.
76,000 a year,
Yeah.
and then
So
So you're saving
$359
$20,000 a year.
Yeah.
divided by 5, that's 71,800. Yeah.
I don't care for the curriculum. I think that, but I think the focus is not where it should be, which is on math. But I would support the 3-year and just say, that, like, we have to have some time frame where we assess and say this is working or not. And that would be long enough time to determine that. I know what I understand that if we pull the rug out from you right now, that's not a good thing. So I would do a 3-year. I would be in favor of that.
You are cognizant of the fact that they're probably gonna dip here in a couple weeks. Our M-STEP with being out 25 days, we've missed about 1/8 of the school year, so.
Well, that's this year.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
2 more years.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have to vote on the motion on the table right now.
Well, the motion is just to adopt the curriculum, so I think we probably need to amend the motion to say if we're doing 1, 3, or 5.
So if we go with 5 years, it's 71,000 a year. If we go with 3 years, it's 76,000 a year, and it's 91 for 1 year. Okay. All right.
So it's
I will say this.
$8,000.
I will support Mr. Craycraft, but I also say, myself, administrators and staff are dedicated to looking at and analyzing data every single year and making the best decisions for our students. And that's, whether it's 3 or 5, we're going to continue to look at data and analyze data and do what we can.
And I don't think, I mean, I guess I absolutely believe that, and I know that's what you've been doing all along, and as long as I've been on the board, you've come with data from Dennis. So I appreciate that, because I know that's where we get our best information.
And you missed the part where Rachel started out saying that she supports the staff and she supports Dennis and just doesn't support the
I
product.
appreciate that.
And so, and I feel the same way, and, you know, as with anything in the consumer world, if you continue to support a product that you don't like, you're never gonna find better. So it's more about the product than anything else.
But with that said, I don't disagree with, but the people that are using it, the teachers, do support this product.
Unanimously.
And that's the most important ingredient, I think, to teach, you know,
The
what.
most important ingredient should be the scores, but.
Well, yeah,
Well,
and I think the
it's
kids are
what-
the most, I think we're losing sight of the kids. The kids are important too.
Yeah.
So I would amend the motion to adopt the curriculum for a 3-year term.
Do we need a second
We
for
would
that?
need a second on that amendment.
I would second that.
Any questions on the amendment?
Okay, so amendment is motion to approve the K-6 iReady math extension for 3-year as presented.
So then if it's working, we can continue to extend it by yearly increments?
Or renegotiate at that point.
Yeah, you can always negotiate.
We did last year.
Yeah, they have been a wonderful company to work with. They are partners. When, I don't feel that we're just purchasing a product. They have been partners in this. When COVID hit, they gave us a ton of free access to stuff we didn't have to help us keep going. The professional development they provide us is fantastic. They're a very good partner in this. They're not just a product that we buy.
So you call, they answer, so to speak, they answer
Within a day.
questions,
Anything we do.
they're,
And the people they have that come and train staff are highly qualified, they're relatable, I truly feel they've been a good partner.
So, but to that end, the product is the kids, that's the product. We're trying to educate, that's our product.
100% agree.
So this business has their ducks in a row, right? But if the product doesn't, if it's not performing, I mean, that's what that's my focus. That is that's my only focus.
Then it's just unclear. So if we do the 3-year program, in 3 years, we're gonna be back in the same spot.
Yep.
And then we'll get a price for 1, 3, and 5 years?
Well, again, it depends. If we do the 3-year, like, so we'll get data back this summer, we'll get right back to work at it. What's working, what's not. Like Jim said, I don't know how this data's gonna be this year. I don't know. There's a lot of stress on our families and kids and whatnot. But we're gonna get right back to work on it. We're also gonna be looking at other stuff if need be, so we don't wait till the last minute. So I know if we go 5 years, let's say we go 5 years, it won't be the 5th year that we're looking into this and having conversations and analyzing. So to answer your question, if we go 3-year, it won't be that 3rd year that we're, okay, we gotta talk about
Yeah,
this.
I understand, but
Yeah.
then we'll have the option at that point, if it is working, to go in the 1 year, 3 years, or purchase the 5 years.
Yeah, that's the agreement.
Anything else?
Okay, so I just want to be clear, I have a
Yep.
motion on the table, or amendment from Rachel, motion to approve the K-6 iReady math extension for a 3-year term as presented, second by Sarah. No more further discussion?
Good.
Okay, Rachel?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Motion carries amendment.
Okay. Thank you. Let me see here. We have a leave of absence. It is recommended the board approve the leave of absence of Heather Phelps as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the leave of absence for Heather Phelps.
I second it.
Any questions? Okay.
Rachel?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, we have an RFP from the Gaylord High School, for Gaylord High School carpet. It is recommended the board approve the bid in the amount of $159,999 from B&J Young Incorporated for the high school carpet installation project as presented.
I will make a motion to approve the bid in the amount of $159,999 from B&J Young Incorporated for the high school carpet installation.
I'll second.
Questions on the high school carpet bid?
Have we used them before? Just out of curiosity?
No.
No.
This carpet's probably
Is
original?
it the original carpet?
Is it original?
That's in the building? Yes.
Gotta be.
It's 30 years old.
No, I know. I need
And that's
Yeah.
this company's local, right?
They're all of Alpena,
But it looks like they're buying from hometown though?
they're buying a product the same as what they would buy. They're all buying this, they're gonna buy the same product, different companies are gonna be installing. And they're not buying from hometown.
Oh, it says, Hometown Flooring Design Center, HS Carpet.
They have a, that's a
Oh,
bid
they put in
though.
a bid.
It's a bid.
Sorry.
Yeah, they bid.
I wouldn't
They were
pull
one
up.
of the
There it
bidders.
is, I gotcha.
So they were all bidding the same carpet, and
They
then
were
one,
the same carpet, the same items, the same spots, the same everything. Everything was the same.
that one bid was quite the outlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
So it's just the labor.
Any other questions? Okay.
Rachel?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right, we have a long-term suspension. It is recommended the board approve the long-term suspension of student 5 for 2024-25 from Gaylord Community Schools as presented. This one went into closed session, so there's not much we can discuss.
I'll make a motion to approve the long-term suspension of the high school student 5.
I will second it.
Okay.
Rachel?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Jeff Weaver?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Unfortunately, I have a few more of these. It is recommended the board approve the long-term suspension of student 6 for 24-25 from Gaylord Community Schools as presented.
I'll make the motion to approve the long-term suspension of student 6 from Gaylord Community Schools as presented.
I'll second.
Rachel?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
It is recommended the board approve the long-term suspension of student 7, 24-25, from Gaylord Community Schools as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the long-term suspension of student 7.
I will second it.
Rachel?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
A motion to approve long-term suspension for student 8, 24-25, from Gaylord Community Schools as presented.
I'll make the motion to approve the long-term suspension for student 8 from Gaylord Community Schools.
I will second it.
Rachel?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, we had no public input earlier, so we'll have none now. And real quick, I'm going to go a little off schedule. I apologize, we didn't discuss this, but I speak for myself and I think for the rest of the board. Thank you, Dave, Todd, and everybody for all that you've done. We know you guys all deserve a long rest and vacation.
But you can't have one.
I said you deserve, I didn't say we could grant one, but thank you very much. I know it's been long. Please let all of your staffs know. We appreciate even having the teachers and the sports staff come in when there was no kids there and do what they did. Your community appreciates it.
We also received a letter from Pastor Disler thanking Gaylord Community Schools for all the staff that was present at E-Free, handing out meals and helping people.
Many of you went above and beyond what you had to do, so.
And you were there every day, so thank you. Those of you who were there at E3 helping every day. We appreciate it.
So,
Yeah. Wow.
so on behalf of us, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. Now, one last.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.